Okay, good afternoon. It's now time for the NBA. So the NBA is back, and what is not normal is you'll watch it that the game is played a little bit different from uh, the normal context you have from players guarding another player, and plus the fact that the bench is spread out. They have about 5 or 6 feet apart from each other on the bench, coaches, players, and then the uh, the game is not played as it was before. The score are lower than before because people are not driving into the lane much often than before. And also the other thing that I noticed is that the players themselves are a little bit anxious to be touching each other on the floor. And as noted before, they some of the players are not playing because they tested positive, so they're quarantined. Unless they can show proof that they are COVID free or they have recovered from COVID, they cannot play the game. Safety first, social distancing, and then uh, you cannot prevent social distancing inside the court. But what it is that you will watch it that the game is a little bit not so much contact between players on the game. And let's watch the highlights of the first game, Clippers and Magic, and the second game is Washington and Denver. Okay, enjoy it as much as you can. And so it appears that the NBA minus the crowds is back. And this will be the 2021 season, 2020-2021 season. If you look at the bench and the background, you'll see that coaches and players have about 6 feet or 5 feet apart from each other. So they're practicing social distancing. Now there are also reports that some of these players have been tested positive with COVID, and some of them have been isolated, and some of them have observed quarantine procedures. But the tests are ongoing, so we are assuming that the players that are playing here are all healthy with no COVID symptoms. And this will be the Magic, Orlando Magic, and Los Angeles Clippers game, which was done on the 22nd of July, which was yesterday. Let's watch some of the highlights of this game. It is just weird to see that players are far apart, but on the court you cannot observe social distancing, of course, because you play closer when you're guarding. But it looks like these people are not guarding as much as they would in a normal non-COVID situation. If you look, they're not really guarding, and they're not touching each player so much. Look at how far they are from each other. That's what I'm saying. But let's just keep on watching and see if we can see the game as played before. But I don't think so. Look at that. They don't even touch each other anymore. You guard them from apart. See, look at that. They're not touching each other. So less fouls, I guess, on games like this. Okay, let's watch the game highlights.
side for Jackson. Those are the two more recent additions at that trade deadline for the Clippers. Jackson and Morris, both of them have been a great deal. How about the fan? Recent additions at that trade deadline for the Clippers. Jackson and Morris, both of them have been a great deal. How about the fan? Reggie Jackson in and out, crossed over, step back, and then will try a three ball off the right side of the ring. Rebound by George with 3 seconds left. George pulls up 30 foot off the buzzer. The last one for Joey. Joey is $25,000 for bonds. Those who were arrested during protesting in Atlanta. The story of Lou Williams, great guy both as a player and as a person, as Leonard driving Jake Fire. Connects on another three. Using his hands off for Ennis on the right wing. Bounce pass on the pocket pass right back to Vucevic. The stuff they left. Out to the key and works with the star in that first pass. Down the middle of the lane. Bounce pass out. He just wrapped it around Vucevic.
Ito ni Banat. Ay, panatang na ni Juan. Ay, mga reservation time, mga pang-bata, bibigyan.
Bench with 5:28 to play in the third quarter. Bounce pass and back down Vucevic. Outside, right wing three. Got floppy. He is how high he can really get with that balance, with that three-point shot. That's been good. It's Judas in the league at 12.6 per game. Get it in for Williams. Circle around the perimeter. Great ball movement as Leonard is open for a right wing three. Carter Williams probably airballs a three from the far side corner. Here come the Clippers. Left to right Williams. Bouncing off body. Goals on the left wing. That by Williams. For Gordon. Can't get it to him. Now he does it with Williams making $1,000 for bonds of those who were arrested protesting in Atlanta. Said that protesting himself wasn't his lane, is how it misses in a short corner on the far side, trying to take advantage of the 2-for-1. Up ahead, Bob is all alone. With 22 seconds to play in the third quarter. Carter Williams drives, checks up the defense by big part of it, 17 points off the bench in 14 minutes. He has looked every bit in midseason form as Coffey takes it down the right alley, but blocked at the rim, absolutely swatted by Mo Bamba at the front court, far side short corner, has made up in the air, relaxed to his stand, put an overhead pass to the left wing for Green, back to Williams, tries 8:45 left to go in the first scrimmage of the reopened in Orlando. It's in the fourth quarter. Ross, 32 from the basket on the far side, went down the right alley, gets all the way to the rim and lays it in with a right hand across that side. And Blum on the court. Driving with about 17 times. Harrison open for a left wing to the ring. Keep it from going out. Amir Coffey then loses control. Up ahead to Frazier, who checked in. Here's Morris straight away, using the body to shield the basketball away from Frazier. Missed the runner, coming back, puts it out. Wants the foul. Not an area in the paint, but missed the pull-up jumper long. And B.J. Johnson, the LaSalle product, gets it to Johnson is quick there by making second. 89-83, 6-point Clippers lead. On the Ford Birch gets it back outside to Vic Law, who drives, pulls up from the right elbow, missed it, but the tip in flying from the other end. Triple pass, wide open left wing three from Bruder. That one short, but he follows his own miss, gets to the basket, puts it up, banks it all up. And the Clippers can be back in full strength sooner rather than later. 97-87 after Manning converts on a pin on the shot clock. Clippers up by 6. Final stages of this scrimmage. Patterson drive, 5 on the shot clock. The Clippers, after 4 long months, have been preaching winning the league. And so far, the first step is completed.
We haven't seen this in 133 days as the Wizards win the tip.
Wizards, what can you say about them? They're missing 3 of their top players, but they've given the Nuggets some consternation. It might be one of the taller starting lineups that ever has started in the game. Lays one in. Well,
last saw, minus maybe 3 more pounds. But I just think he did such a great job leading up to that point of losing 20 pounds over the course of the season.
Well, and a couple days ago, Coach Malone, when they scrimmaged live in practice, Coach Malone was like, okay, look, it's going to be sloppy, it's going to be messy, but the turnovers, the rebounding, and the three-point defense were areas that he really wanted them to focus in on.
That's good. We'll get a little bit of a workout.
Yeah, quick trivia question. I posed this on my radio show. There was,
Outside of Zion, there were some rookies that had some really good seasons, and he was one of them. He's a really good player for them. I know they like his future. they're trying to get it.
Harris was hot at the end of the year, and Jokic, he's streaky also. But I think this Nuggets three-point shooting team is a lot better than 35.5% if you get those guys revved up, maybe even higher than that.
Well, to your point there, Marlo, after the All-Star game, it's where the number one field goal percentage team, over 50%, number 13 field goal percentage team. So, they were looking to make strides in that area.
Get out of here. Get that out.
Denver Nuggets Wizards more after this. Convince Malone that he's a guy that should get time. But you look at him 3 times the player that his dad was. His dad couldn't shoot like that, couldn't shoot.
He said a few days ago, he said the one thing he's discovered, he's got to get his hands up. And he had his hands up there. And I think that was Troy Daniels with a jumper.
Well, Troy Daniels has gotten some good reviews in camp also. Talked to Nuggets players and coaches.
In the playoffs last year, they're going to do it again this year. How can he withstand that? Well, extra muscle helps. Experience from last year to know what's coming also helps.
Troy Daniels, Noah Vonleh getting a chance to play a little bit here. He's a very good player when he gets some time.
As the conductor of the Bol Bol hype train, I'm here for this. So I think that's why. And that train is full steam ahead, by the way.
And now he's playing point guard.
Oh, look at that.
Point guard.
Bol to Vonleh. Bol not in the game at the moment. I think the one interesting thing that because the Nuggets are short-handed, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise as Wagner lays one in.
You know what's interesting with it?
Jokic with it.
You know what's interesting too about this court is there's so much space on the sideline.
That's good.
On offense and defense.
Nuggets have been stuck on 32 since Hector was a pup.
Oh.
There's a good shot.
Daniels for 3.
Joker playing point guard for most of the day. And Troy Daniels can't handle that fast. Here we go.
It's a little bit of a mixed bag. I mean, I think there's early on, especially offensively. Listen, there was a little rough around the edges. I thought they had some really good possessions and good spacing.
But he will be, as he gains more knowledge of the players in the NBA, on how to go against them and how to block shots, how to stay down, how to get the most.
Well, once was a double-digit lead for the Nuggets, has been whittled down to 3. Wizards have it to 3 now.
Yes, sir.
Great pass.
Paul Millsap.
Millsap with the flush. That's going to be a key going into those seeding games and into the playoffs. Millsap should be nicely rested.
That's it.
Team's kind of going back and forth.
Fuck it. He's a good player, 77.5%. It's their best free throw shooting percentage. Bol with the block in 30 years. Now Daniels.
Bol.
And Dan Issel, your impressions of Bol so far?
Well, he's not quite as tall as his dad.
Jeremy Grant for 1.
Our old friend Irv Brown used to always talk about the hips. You got to watch a guy's hips, whether they're flexible enough, whether it's football, basketball. He is a lot more flexible. You can see that. Say another thing, they obviously they're starting a big lineup, which is kind of fun to watch.
Good move inside.
Chris.
Bol for
I'll tell you what, put Bol in the corner.
3-point basket. Hachimura.
A big man spotty the way he plays. And there really wasn't a defensive presence, a rim protector. And if Bol can do
He was credited with 14 blocks.
exactly, I played with a great shot blocker.
7-9, which is something you like to talk about. That wingspan, Scotty. But that makes a huge difference.
You don't care about speed or vertical or nothing. All Chris talks about is the length. Now, I will say this, though, as you coach this league, to make this team, when everybody gets back, he's got to continue to be a maker And if so, and I think Dempsey talked about it earlier, that's big.
Major League Baseball starts this weekend and NBA back, and I think the commissioner's done an admirable job getting everything a lot, keep the players safe. I think most of the players feel good about this, and it's great to have basketball back.
It's unusual, although Jokic and Plumlee did that a little bit last year. Now bowl for three. Jokic there, and he won a bowl with it. It's been kind of an interesting mishmash of good basketball, some sloppy basketball, getting a chance to see some of the Nuggets newcomers. When you see a guy that you haven't seen play much and he sparkles like this, what goes through your mind as a coach? How much weight do you give it? Think anything wrong? Just didn't choose to play him today. Same with Will Barton, as the Nuggets are slowly getting a full complement of players available. Katie Wingy, I was told that one of the reasons Jamal Murray, just got this in my earpiece, Jamal Murray was fatigued from his golf outing.
But I like him. Don't finish.
Whoa, yeah.
That's why I think he will, even when they get into the seeding games, Chris.
Yeah.
Because, and you know what the next question is asked, Marlo, is coming up? Is when Jamal Murray gets in.
And you get to kick it into that extra high gear, even in the scrimmage, especially in the NFL. I always love starting a fight, man. If somebody was going to him, and I was going to catch him, and if they were upset about it, well, I'm standing right here. You get to get that mentality when you do these scrimmages.
Streak alive! Streak alive! Streak alive, baby!
Basket. With the Wizards, how important is just getting the win to him?
I think it's down to Brown.
See, I disagree. And I'm not saying they won't. They probably will. But
So Coach Malone was talking about the potential of using like visual elements to call plays to make it less obvious. I mean, that could be
we all know the calls anyway. I've watched them down in the press room like 6 dudes.
An overly explosive offensive team, although they played better on that end after the All-Star break. But I like that matchup against the Nuggets. So, it's a team that's Joe Daniels.
Well, I want to see.
Right. 35 seconds remaining. The Nuggets look like they have this one in control, and they've done it with a nice run here. Remember, it was tied at 79. 10 straight points, and Barry on the whipped cream, on the ice cream, on the cake.
Highlights. We were doing our meeting, or our social media, Nuggets social media day. The Bobo running left wing, catching it, and a fast break out in front of people.